Hi, I'm Kelly. This is Kelly Martin Books, and this is the spooky book tag. I saw this tag on Bookable's channel. I'll leave a link to hers and to the original video by the book pusher. I'll leave it in the description. So the spooky book tag is a tag based on spooky Halloween things, which is appropriate for right now. So there are 12 questions. I say we get started. Question number 1, Corn Maze. Which book had you confused from the very start? And I don't have a copy of this with me, but it is actually a spell book for the lost and found. I'm reading it. I'm confused, but I'm reading it. Number 2, Haunted House. Which book has the creepiest setting? I chose Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. If you have read Wuthering Heights, you know that it's not like a scary book, though it does have its moments. It's not a horror book. It's a gothic book, and it's set in like the fog-covered moors, and it's so just, the atmosphere is so creepy in this book. I love it, but it's creepy. Question number 3 is your ghost boyfriend. Who is your eternal boyfriend? Book boyfriend, I should say. I don't have a book of this one either, but I think my forever eternal book boyfriend would be Damon from the Vampire Diaries. The Vampire Diaries book. I love the Vampire Diaries series, but I'd read the books too. And Damon is pretty different in some ways, and I think book Damon was my favorite. You can leave the hate comments in the below. Question number 4, Caramel Apple Suckers. Best dang Halloween book ever. My best dang Halloween book ever is Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendar Blake. Oh my gosh, I read this recently. It's about a guy who is a ghost hunter, and he kills ghosts. And he goes to kill Anna dressed in blood, and things happen. Now, it is a sequel, or it does have a sequel, but I've not read the sequel yet, and I'm not really sure if I'm going to, because I love how this one ended. Not that it has a happy ending, but I don't know if I'm going to read the sequel. If you've read the sequel, let me know in the comments. Tell me if I should read it, because I don't know. Book number 5, Vampires in Everything. This is your least favorite Halloween trope. And I don't really have a least favorite Halloween trope. I'm not picky, I guess. But I guess the one I like the least, I don't hate it, but I guess the one I don't like the least, if that makes sense, is Carnival. I'm not a big fan of carnival books, which is kind of funny since I wrote a story in a carnival anthology. They're not my favorite. Now, I've read, this is Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. It's not a bad book at all. I mean, it's a classic, so, you know, it's not a bad book at all. I think I gave it like 4 stars. It's not that I don't like carnival books. It's just that it's not my favorite. Number 5. Again, there's 2 5s. Pumpkin and Everything, your favorite Halloween trope. And my favorite Halloween trope would have to be haunted houses. I love haunted houses. Not going in like the haunted house where they jump up. I don't like jump scares, but I love reading about ghosts in houses, which I like to write about ghosts in houses too. And I picked one that I didn't write. This is A Diary of a Haunting by M. Verdugo. No, it's not. M. Verano. This is a very good book. It's creepy in a creepy way. The ending, like a lot of these books, have some, you know, issues, but leading up to the ending, it's just. Number 6 is Evil Incarnate, the most evil villain. And I'm actually going to be talking about this in my favorite monsters video this week. My pick for most evil person ever character is Dr. Frankenstein from Frankenstein. He's terrible. He's terrible. He spends his whole time making a monster, and then he goes to bed. Spoiler if you didn't know. But that's not the end of the book. But he is terrible. Number 7, Ouija Board. A book that messes with things you don't want to mess with. And I chose, there were so many. I chose Blood Brothers. The first book, I've talked about this before, the first book in the Sign of Seven series from Nora Roberts. This book there's 3 boys who were born at the exact same time on the exact same day. Every 7 years something bad happens and to the town, and I would not want to be involved in this. Not that they did it themselves, partially. You just need to read. Number 8, full moon. What character would you turn into on the full moon? I'm going to say Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. No explanation will be given. Number 8, All Hallows Eve. The other worlds and this world have collided and have meshed for one night. What book would you love to be swept up in? I would love to be in These Shallow Graves by Jennifer Donnelly. First of all, it's the prettiest cover. It's so pretty. I bought it for the cover. I love it, which I'm glad I love it. It's not a scary book, which I thought it was based on the cover and the title. It's not a scary book. It's a wonderful book. It's set in 1890s New York. I think it's 1890s. And it's about a girl who likes to investigate things. And she wants to become a writer and a newspaper reporter. And then her daddy dies. And there's like this mystery she has to solve. And she meets this guy named Eddie. And it's a wonderful book. And I would not mind being swept up in this. Except I would need air conditioning. Because we need air conditioning. Number 10, Voodoo Doll. Which author would you love to control you and write a story about your life? I picked Kendall Blake again because she writes so beautifully. Like, it was, even, she does action scenes well. She does, like, just intense scenes well. She does romantic scenes well. Anything that you need. That'd be Kendall Blake. Black Cat. What red flags do you look for when you first start out on a book? One of my biggest things that I used to not do, and I have thankfully stopped doing this, is I used to wouldn't read first person books. Which if you've read any of my books now, you think how hilarious that is because I write first person. I do read first person now, but that used to be my big thing. I wouldn't read first person, and I don't know why. Like, there's some amazing books that's wrote in first person, and I was missing out on them because I was being silly. But I've got better. And the second thing was, it's still long paragraphs. I guess I get bored. I don't know. Or like overwhelmed. But if there's long paragraphs, especially if it's the first page of a book, and the first page is just one long paragraph, I struggle to get through it. And I need to be better about that because, like I said, wonderful books I'm missing out on because I'm being, too picky. But that's just, we all have our quirks. And number 12, which is Brew, a book that had a lot of elements together, but when put together was magical. And again, I picked Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendall Blake. It had romance, it had horror, it had action, it had teen movie vibe, it had supernatural vibe. It was just wonderful. So that is my wrap up of the spooky book tag. I'll leave all the questions in the description. What are your favorite books? What are your favorite Halloween books? Just know that you don't have to be around Halloween to read a Halloween book or a scary book or anything like that. There's so many wonderful books in this tag, or wonderful videos in this tag. I hope you check them out. Alright, I'll see you later. Bye.